adapted to each other, having had that little bit more history.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this does go. I mean, looking at the score lines of the last few times that they've played against each other, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. One overtime in the mix there, 1-13-10. But then for the rest of it, there's quite a bit of heavy-handed advantage that goes over to the next level. So a little bit of a concern in that regard, but you know, some roster changes recently for 9, and perhaps that's going to be the secret weapon. Also, obviously, we can see that it's going to be Nani that's stepping in for them in this matchup, so hopefully he'll be that missing link that they need.
Exactly. Should be up and wielding the orb, hopefully. And on a map like Dust2, what a way to get started. But here we are, pistol round. nifee has found the first, and they're still looking for a bit more. They cannot deal with him. That's 3 in a row, and still wants a little bit more here.
That's an outrageous amount of value for a USPS to be getting. I mean, okay, it is at range, sure, fair enough, but 3 back-to-back there without taking a lick of damage himself, and Ken will go ahead and make that a 4th as well. Finally, we'll get a little bit of damage here for 9. Maybe make this 2. Nope, shot's not quite connecting there. We now see who the superior USP player is, but that's just round 1, right? Pistol rounds can be a little bit of a coin flip, a little bit of a 50-50. The question becomes now, what happens into this round? Because without a bomb plant, 9 is in a bit of a tough situation.
Yeah, there is going to be naught in the armory for them. On the flip side, however, look at the next level. Already got those A1Ss and fair amount of utility to back it up. Seems a little bit like overkill when we know what they're going up against. But 9, a single flash to the name on route. It looks like they want to pop over towards B with it. Have to wait out all of this initial utility. Anything they can draw out, any players they can maybe isolate early is going to be a blessing. Actually, it's down towards tunnels they sneak instead.
They've only really got 1 flash here as well to try to play off of. Oh man, no one's watching.
And it's
no one's watching for it, and that's the flasher as well. So now they just don't have that piece of utility at all. Onyx looking to try and farm up some cash there. Only good for 1, but that's a decent little bit. And Dorvi will hold the longer angle. And I think 9 make the right call here. Maybe we don't try to ego that. The problem is they've lost so much map space, so they don't really have any other options. Will they recover the flash? No, they don't. They're just going to be walking blind, or rather walking straight into the waiting arms. Seat will get 1 kill, so at least do a little bit of economic damage there. But ultimately, I don't think you could ask for too much more. Yep, there you go. Clean up.
Exactly. Given that all they had was a single flash, taking down 2 people with them, you're going to go home, you're going to take that as a little bit of badge of honor. It's going to be into this round that they come with a little bit more firepower. But you do hate to see it. Lovely proactivity from the next level. And that's going to be something that we see as a recurring theme throughout this series, is they seem to just like to get that little bit of a jump. They like to get a little bit ahead and push for that map control on that CT side. And they're going to be catching 9 off guard time and time again. If the history is anything to go by in the first couple of rounds of this, anything to show as well.
Rifles on board now. I do like Rolls' position. We're still hitting this B site, which, to be fair, if you can get control and get bombed down, you're in a really good position. But cracking into the site can be a little bit difficult. So we're going to make a little bit of noise out towards mid here. Quite a bit of utility being thrown as well. So this should stem some of that aggression and maybe call some of those rotations. But no, next level just not willing to take that bait. Instead, Onyx... Oh, he's turned around. Oh, the timing on that, that's so spicy. Turns straight into the flash. Still good for 2 on his way out, but that's going to be the entire B site capitulated. 2 players left here for next level, and if they do indeed try to push this, they could find themselves worse for wear. Flierax down to like 3 HP. nifee... Nope, gonna make the right call here. Back away, hold on to the rifles. Solid execute from 9.
Yeah, lovely stuff there. And I think a lot of that is off the back of Rulz managing to find that position in mid. Because there's a world you can see that if TNL win back that control for doors, if they don't have to contend with Rulz there and the utility that is bombarded at them, there's a player down, they have the player advantage. And yes, they have to retake the supposedly unretakeable site, but they do it with all of the advantages they could ever want. So lovely stuff there for 9 to be able to take such aggressive control and just have Rulz sat there waiting to cut this off.
Well, at least they'll still be able to keep some weaponry into that next round, and off the back of a couple of round wins, shouldn't be feeling the economic crunch too heavily. So they'll be able to still eke something out here, try and fight back. But that's a really important win for 9 as well. I was questioning the re-hit towards B kind of every single round. But as mentioned, you know, getting into that B site, it's so difficult to retake. And once you've taken all of that space and you've eliminated so many players, comes a little bit of a walk in the park. Now we'll change things up a little bit. Here's that aggression you were talking about. Flierax actually spots a player on the tail end of the run. He gets spots in return and loses his life for that little bit of aggression. Beautiful opener here from 9. That's going to make things that little bit more difficult for Next Level to maintain any of that map control that they were trying to get super early on. Gives so much space for 9 to move forward, but still being very careful about this. They've got extremity control towards B. They've got somebody holding long just in case somebody goes for something crazy. You can tell that 9 come into this as a team that are familiar with what Team Next Level try to do. They're going to try to stem that tide as far as possible. Hit the brakes a little bit here. Slow things down. See if they can draw some rotations. Maybe draw some paranoia.
Yeah, and I love the map control they've got here as well. They've got eyes on doors just to make sure that there's no flanks coming in. It gives them this world of options. They've got tunnels. This entire sort of 2/3 from the bottom up on that mini-map, you can see just fully under their thumb here. Now they're all going to gather up. Start heading through doors. Flush these players out. There's the first. nifee goes down, but Ken immediately gets the trade. Gets the first, lines up for the second as well. There is a trade. It's a little bit belated, but still the advantage on their side here.
And they have managed to recover the bomb, and that smoke is still up. So there's actually a little bit of space to potentially move away. Unfortunately, the smoke is in a very odd position. Now, bomb is in mid, so it's in relative safety here. Nani trying to draw the ire of these CTs and does manage to allow Farvan to get a kill here. So for Davi, he's the last one left alive. Has the 1v2, spots out the player, but unfortunately comes off second best. 2-2 now.
Yeah, exactly what you'd want to be seeing here. It's going to put a little bit of a dampener on Team Next Level with the economy, however. You can see money's not going to be in a great place for them. They're not really going to be able to buy much into this. You've got Dory on a Deagle, Ken as well, but that's going to be about all they can really afford coming into. That's going to be 9 taking the lead and starting to build up that bankroll in the back. You can see the money on Fablin alone. It means they can start leaning towards potentially getting an AWP into the hands of Flierax early on if they want to. I love the Zeus being pulled out here. They're on it. Want to run them on down that B side falls. We talked about it. And now a very unrecoverable situation on that hand here.
Not even a little bit of constellation damage done. nifee can see this is going to be the person we need to look out for cheeky plays. The second time that he's been caught. I say caught. That we've seen him on one of these little adventures in the previous rounds. Didn't really get much. That's a nice little tap. Can you recover the gun? Can you get away? No, not going to be allowed. Fairly clean round here from 9. Exactly what they needed. So much money in the bankroll now to just kind of keep them going. And this is what they need to be doing on their T side. Just getting as much of a runaway lead as they possibly can. Because when we swap sides, that's when things could start to get a little bit more difficult. And speaking of course, Next Level going to come into this round with a decent buy. It's not perfect. They've had to throw the MP9 in the mix there. They've had to kind of sacrifice a little bit of utility. But overall, this is certainly doable. And they're going for a very hold over towards long here. Potentially going to look to wrap around. No, just setting up some players in case of a door pop. Now they can pull back. They've inserted, sorry, not nifee, Davi, just in case they do go for a doors push. And so they've got some really good map control to play off of.
Comes out, nifee really needing to find a kill there, but hopefully enough utility just to hold them at bay. They are trying to get ahead of it, however, but just a little bit too much flame at the feet, and they're going to have to sit here and wait as all of the forces converge.
One kill already through. nifee into the smoke, ducking and diving. Flierax swings wide, manages to get one, but it's his teammates there to cover him, to protect what is theirs, and it's a pretty simple cleanup, and that's kind of the danger when you've got all 4 of your players popping through the exact same place. You run into those crosshairs, and sure, Team Next Level, they'd set up a pretty decent defense towards that A site either way. But I don't know, it's the fates were on their side there, that it all just played out perfectly for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can really need. Timeout being called, and I think it's well played. placed. They found a little bit of footing. Immediately, a response come back. It was a very one-dimensional attack onto this site, and the moment that utility comes out, it stalls them for so long, and they've expended enough of their own that TNL, they can just focus all of their attentions here. They've taken that long control. They know that there is no imminent danger coming from that way. They see nothing, they hear nothing doors, they've heard nothing tunnels, so they know the only place they can be coming from is from catwalk. And it just makes it such an impossible task. You're going up against 4 crosshairs all looking your way. So now new game plan needed to be established. The B has been working really well for them, but I expect Team Next Level are going to start predicting that now that they've nosed over towards A, that they've done a little bit of a litmus test, it didn't work, they will start pushing towards B again, seeing if they can find the groove that was working for them originally.
Alright, again we're seeing Next Level going for pretty strong doors control here. So this is something they're going to want to contest quite often. And for 9, they've gone for a little bit more of a split approach this time. Something a little bit more defaulty. Putting a little bit of damage in towards the A site here. Showing some presence. But again, Next Level not really taking that bait. We'll rotate one player closer towards mid because there is a little bit of action towards double doors. So perhaps this is the opening that 9 need. They've moved a lot of forces back down towards long. Or is nifee ready for this? This is why he was positioned down towards long. But 3 players running at him. All he has is an MP9. A couple of shots. He actually gets the first. Has to back away for the reload. Has enough time to do so. Almost gets the second. But not quite. That gives Flierax time to get into position. Flash over the top. Beautiful spray. Predicted perfectly. Oh, that is a missed off shot. That is unfortunate. Now it's all down to rolls, and it's been put into a winnable situation, but that AWP was recovered and didn't even need to come into play. Loses out to the MP9, and somehow, I'm not sure how, but Next Level claw that back.
Yeah, it got a little bit messy. It got messy again towards the end. I thought Rolls really had an opportunity. He kills that player in CT. Suddenly, there's a will, there's a way. But a lovely way to come back into this. The fact that the flash comes through and you hate to see it. It's so perfect, but the issue is already lined up on the angle. All you have to do is spray and control that spray. You do not need the vision, and they feed directly into it. So yeah, lovely little micro stuff coming out here from TNL. And now Flierax, we talked about it, on the AWP and ready, lined up on the angle. No one's willing to give him the fight in mid, and smart move. However, Ken has found that fight elsewhere and wants to go for a little bit more. Deals with the player, forces them to retreat, and then even less now for that AWP to do. But nifee in a world of trouble, gets a little bit aggressive before overextending here, but unfortunately for the rest of 9, they all come crumbling down.
All the King's horses and all the King's men couldn't put 9 back together again. Rough round, but it was pistols, and we weren't really expecting too much to come out of that. I do like that they go for a more patient play. They kind of read into the fact that Next Level are going to realize it's going to be a little bit of an anti-eco, so they can get a bit more aggressive, they can get a little bit more in your face. So they decide to play passive. They decide to wait for the CTs to push into them. Unfortunately, could not capitalize on that one. Only 1 kill off the back of it. Now, Nani back into the AWP position. Hasn't really had much opportunity to get anything done with that AWP. It's quite an expensive bit of machinery to be bringing into these rounds and not getting any value out of. Massive investment. Well, you know, sometimes it's about sending a message, you know? Just, I have one. But can you use it? Flierax, can you use yours? Smoke not cleared enough. There were so many potential targets there, but that HE didn't create as much vision as he would have wanted.
I love the counter smokes coming out immediately there, and the re-smoke onto the doors, because it means that all of this expended smoke to try by that space immediately nullified, and they have to go elsewhere. Minutes boarding and woods all off the time, and they're no closer to the circle.
The stall has been really good, but I think 9 are also starting to feel a little bit flustered. You know, a lot of their approaches have been lackluster. They've had maybe 1 or 2 fairly clean rounds that they've won, and everything else has been pretty rough on them. Only managing to pick up 3 rounds so far, so it feels like Next Level have definitely read into their approaches quite well. And Next Level are doing very similar things round after round, right? We're not having too many changes, but now having waited out all of that utility, 9 will take this opportunity. Flash over the top. Oh, Onyx. On Nick rather, Radiant waiting on the edge of the smoke, and as they push through, sprays connect perfectly, but trades have been good. 2 versus 2 now. Money and Rolls stuck yet. Oh gosh!
What is going on?
Oh no!
There's no
okay.
time though.
I mean
Go through
that was a round of all time Affinity.
So there's 2 missed no scopes, and then instead of trying to go for the pistol, tries to pull out the knife, gets shot point blank in the face, and then right at the very end, because there's no time to retrieve the bomb and go plant, but you see the walk towards the doors, had picked up an AK at this point, a single spray through the doors could have won them the round, just accidentally. But you do hate to see the whiffs point blank. Sometimes it'll be like, everyone pretends you didn't see anything. There's no hiding that one.
No, that was pretty blatant, unfortunately. It was quite rough. But as you said, right, by that point, time was just not on their side. They'd held on to a little bit of utility, so once all the smokes had cleared, you start to think, okay, well, maybe now with that util, but they don't expect Onyx to be right up close and personal against that smoke. And because of all the boxes in the way, it's a lot easier to play anti. So when the flashes do come through, he's not blind. So 2 kills off the back of that, and 9's entire push is stopped dead in its tracks. So they're back down onto pistols now. Only 2 Tech 9s, so, you know, not too sure how much of a rush we could possibly get out of that. I must say, I've been disappointed recently. I feel like the Tech 9 rush is becoming a bit of a dying art.
It was so dominant and so prevalent for ages, and then it just vanished.
It's just gone now, and it's honestly one of the most entertaining things to watch, in my opinion.
And it works so well.
Okay, full blind pistol shot, but I was hoping that might actually snowball into something. Not to be the case.
Good job with baiting out these shots. Oh, I say that.
There you go, quick as you like. 2 rounds left in this half Affinity. 9, bit of an uphill battle to get themselves to 5 if they so want, which I imagine they do.
You'd be wanting 7-5 here, but the thing is that Team Next Level, they are a very good defensive team. So when they go onto that T side, you do see them get a little bit weaker. So anything you can do just to not let them have that little bit of a buffer is amazing. 9, however, have that little bit of an aggressive spark. They love to run through these smokes. It's a little bit of a signature for them, and they're running out of room to really be able to flex that in the way that you would want to see. So 7-5 would be nice. Anything less, and I would be worried for them.
Ooh, alright. Spots out Nani. Oh man, you can't be repeaking that blind, or dry rather. Oh my god, it's just fish in a barrel. Flierax with 2. One of his teammates has followed him up for another. Now 1 player left alive. I mean, this is just an absolute devastation. This was a round where 9 didn't even approach one of the bomb sites. They were hanging out in top mid for the longest time, and Team Next Level were like, well, if you're going to give us the space, we're going to take it. And they push out so aggressively. 9 look flustered.
And so does the buy they're going to be rocking with. We even saw the scout toyed with for a second there, but there is nothing left in the tank. It's all Galils. It's a little bit of utility spread around, and they know what they're up against. They've been peeking things one by one, and you can't be letting them isolate these jewels because Flierax is on fire. They've got so much money. They've got the orgs coming out.
I mean, I love an org, alright? I am an org believer. I don't care what Brandon says. I'm all about it. Okay, but no. But you're a shotgun believer, so...
Okay, yeah, my opinion is
entirely
entirely... Yeah, true.
Okay, good opener there onto nifee. Finally, they've won the battle at long. Beautiful Molotov to try to clear out the car position, but Ken is still able to relocate a little bit. They don't realize it's here. Flash over the top, and he's able to spray through. He'll get instantly traded, however. Opens up a bit of space, but not enough. Darby with 2. Darby with 3 to end out that half. Beautiful, dominant from Next Level.
It's crazy, it's hectic, but we are back to close out this first map of this best of 3 team next level. A dominant start to this map, and 9-3, I believe you may have coined a lore after this one, Sam.
Yes, that would be called Nauri's Law. 9-3 is the scoreline where you are cursed to potentially come back. I don't know, there's more scientific terms to it, but that's essentially what that is. So yes, perhaps this is where 9 actually do turn things back around in their favor. It's going to have to start with this pistol.
I'm a big fan of the decoy buys. I have no idea what it's being used for, but... Oh, there it is. Goes over the top.
What?
Well, yes. Usually there's an ulterior motive. But turns out the ulterior motive is just a distraction for Ken to find the first 2 picks.
I'll be honest, I don't know how that worked, but there's a little bit of return fire over towards the B site, but how much more can get done here? Next level definitely have the advantage in this one. Numbers advantage, trade advantage, spatial advantage. Rawls managing to get a pick on the other side of the map, but Nani loses his life, so 2 versus 2 in a bit, as Ken has just nearly a sliver of HP, but that is an extra body to be wary of. They want to stop this plant from going down, but they're not going to be able to, and now kraghen has to 1v3 and still get that defuse off. He had a kit, but it doesn't matter. He no longer has a head. There you go. That's 9 up to 10. Nope, that's TNL up to 10. 9 is nowhere near 9.
It's from 9 rounds up to 10.
There you go.
But yeah, we talked about Nauri's Law, the Zonix law of MR12, but it only really works if you secure that pistol, especially on CT's side, because you don't have anything to work with. They go into this round with 2 pieces of utility, and suddenly it's 3-11. They have no contingency rounds to work with. So I would either want to see a very snazzy eco, or they're going to need to come swinging into round 15. I love the stack here, and actually, as we can see, and you wonderful people at home can see, they do appear to be walking into that stack. Unfortunately, they may just line up one at a time for Dory. kraghen does manage to retaliate a little bit here, but they're all blind. It doesn't matter. The bullets come raining in, and it is a clean sweep mop up on aisle 9.
Honestly, I don't love that tactic on range. I feel like that tactic gets so much more value up close and personal, because on range, when the enemy team has rifles, if you get one, it's damn near a miracle at that point, and that's all they got, just the one, and the rest was cleanup.
With the corner as well, they have so much more space to back away and play with that angle. You can rush them if you're a little bit closer up and catch them off guard, especially on the pistol. So I'm with you on that one, you know. Long range, I'm not sure I'm a fan of it.
Well, we'll see if 9 can somehow bring themselves back in. They do now have a bit of a buy. Have already expended a decent amount of the util that they had in belt. So 3 flashes and 2 smokes are all that remain, and they're gonna have to try to hold on to this as long as possible. Rails now going for a little bit of an aggression, but loses that battle. There is a trade though, so at least numbers still favor next level. But no, Onyx has been such a demon throughout this entire game so far. 2 kills from him, cracks open that site, and now Seja, again, we see another 1v3 scenario, and I think this one is about as likely as the last one that we saw. We call it a 1v2, 1 player's on the other side of the map, but all it takes is a 1v1. Ken shuts it down, 2 kills for him on the round, map point for next level.
Yeah, it feels like they are speed running this, and yes, they've won all of the series versus each other before TNL. They've never quite won it as dominantly as this, so exciting to be sure. But 9 rounds in a row, I'm a firm believer that it's never over till it's over, but when you've got 2 FAMAS or 2 FAMI, however we're pronouncing it, it certainly doesn't look likely. I love them going for a little bit of pace over towards long, because they're not going to be able to play the range with these weapons, but unfortunately, it has been read like an open book.
Sights just about in their control. They don't have control of bomb, and that just kind of speaks to their confidence. You don't need the bomb if the enemy team is not around to defend. 2 players left here, an MP9 and a FAMAS. Not a bang, but a whisper. kraghen will get 1. It's him versus the entire damn world at this point. Flash over the top. A little bit of damage, but that's it. That's all she wrote. Next level. 13-3 on Nine's map pick. That is devastation to kick off this game.
Yeah, going out with a fizzle towards the end. We expected a little bit more from Nine, who said it's been rough from them recently.
Are in the thick of our game between TNL and Nine. And, well, that first map, a little bit of a blowout. I'm Nari Mizuki. I'm joined by Affinity. Now, Affinity, we're moving over onto TNL's map pick. That's right. They won Nine's map pick, and things are not looking great.
No, they are not. There's been a lot of sort of sloppy errors coming in. They just weren't able to find any footing here. The max they got was 2 rounds in a row. So I'm really hoping a running start is needed here. Now, these two teams have played up against each other a lot on this map. And Nine, their signature strat, they're very active towards that B ramp. And I have a feeling that if Team Next Level put their attention there, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a difficult one for Nine to shut down. But Onyx, oh, look at that, already charging through the map.
Getting nice and quick with it. Next Level definitely feeling confident after that last map. So much space taken up through Red Room. But finally will get shut down. Has done enough to allow his team to get that bomb planted. However, now it's going to be a 3 versus 4 retake scenario. What can Nine get done here? He doesn't care, man. Just swings with it. Knows that his teammates are going to be there. Yes, they do lose one. But does it really matter? Kraghen, okay. Running straight through. But, yep, that's all she wrote. 2 players left alive for TNL. But a round in the back pocket.
It seems to be on the itinerary for day is Nine that there's lots of amazing sort of final stands and Hail Marys, but the issue is there's not enough to work with. That even though we're just in round 1 of the pistol, if we look back at that first map, so many amazing sort of 1Ks, 2Ks, 3Ks, and really lovely clean clips, but just too late in the round, it's already slipped too far, and hopefully we're not going to see that be what we're relying on again. But a pistol round is exactly what Team Next Level needs to continue the rolling momentum, and there is the opening pick on top of all of it.
And there we go. We'll get a little bit of a trade-off there with the MP9, so they can try and farm up a little bit of cash. Very nice. The pistols sing out. Noni with the wide swing, managing to get a second after picking up that AK, and okay. Nine looking like they might just be able to reset the economy. Roll's getting a second. Talk about a bang for your buck. Nifee cannot get anything done here. Nine, where's that come from?
That is incredible. Just a couple of opening picks, and we talked about it, that B ramp was going to be a hot spot here. And they rush on out. They manage to find this pick. They sweep up the weapons. And instead of Team Next Level sort of falling back, resetting and going, okay, we're being faced with a lot of aggression, they stay, they fight, and they're losing out. They are just being run on down. As you said, economy reset. Not fully. They've decided to force into this one. So I could potentially get a little bit messy after this. But the Tech 9 rushes, the long forgotten art, we've sung the praises of. Hopefully, it's their turn to get an eco round back on the board here. But Fathom does not want to let this happen. The first line of defense gone up, and it's a lovely flash to keep them blind and sitting ducks in the open.
Yeah, in the open, absolutely. Just getting caught in the spray down, and there's really not much more they can get done. It's another round where they only lose 1 player. Faven has become a little bit of cannon fodder over the last couple of rounds, but everyone else is surviving. They're keeping those guns. They're keeping that economy moving. It was an anti-eco, so I suppose to an extent that is somewhat expected, but the economic reset has been horrific for Next Level because this is back-to-back ecos for them, and it's only going to be in the next round where we might possibly be seeing them bring something back to the table.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit run-of-the-mill, but it gives Nine the opportunity to litmus test. They're going to fly up onto Catwalk, and now here we are. They've got all of the space. They've just suffocated TNL out of this entire round early. Yes, it's just the pistols, but they're not going to let them find anything here.
It's this beautiful, smooth opener, and so much map control gained off of that as well. That mid control, so important on this map. And honestly, if they can get anything more done in this round, I will be absolutely flabbergasted. And no, looks like it's just going to be clean up from this point on. Now we start kind of thinking towards the next round. They've actually got a decent amount of money. Round number 4, they should get a In fact, they will get a very solid buy out of this. But what kind of adaptations can we possibly see from them that maybe will help them catch something? You know, they've done a little bit of B, they've done the tiniest bit of mid presence. Do we think that they now maybe swap over to an A side push? They're not going for a full buy, in fact. Oh my lord, this could be dangerous.
Yes, it could be indeed, and there's a lot of utility pelted their way, and also 9, they've been given the time to establish on it as well, so it's just going to be a bloodbath. If he does manage to find this opening, they try and run on down, but they're not quite going to find the success. They do go 1 for 1 on every single kill, however, and that is going to be a scooped up AK, and actually a fair bit of utility to boast.
They've kept this relatively close. They've done far more than maybe we would have anticipated in this round. But that should be where that stops. The last rifle lost. They'll at least get that bomb planted for a little bit of extra cash. I thought maybe the Tech 9 could get one more, but no. It's another relatively clean round from 9. They come through with 3 players still left alive. That is what is that? 4 rounds? No, 3 rounds back to back. Never do maths on stream. And they're going to be feeling very, very confident with how these last few rounds have been going. For next level, however, not buying in that previous round. Okay, with that bomb plant, there's still decent money here. So maybe this is where the turnaround happens. I keep saying that. I keep thinking like, okay, now. Okay, now. And it just hasn't happened.
We're just going to keep getting burned by this as well. And despite the fact that they have been ecoing for so many rounds, we're still seeing players unable to buy full weaponry. We've got this Galil out on Onyx. We won't see that all coming out. Yeah, controversial pick, but they just don't really have the money available to go for too much more. I say that. It's always got a lot of money, just doesn't seem to want to buy.
Saving it for next, I guess. I don't know. Oh, blind kill, and then kraghen follows it up through the smoke. Finally, nifee will get a trade-off. It's been absolute chaos out in mid. 9 definitely not looking like the weaker team so far on this map. It certainly has been their show for these first few rounds. Still early days, but if this trajectory continues, it does not bode well. See next level. Now they slow things down a little bit. Try and eke out a little bit of space for themselves. They've lost so much map control at this point. Their only real opportunity is maybe, or their only real option is maybe mid, but that's being held by the AWP. So we're going to posture over towards B here, and it is effectively a 3 versus 2 in order to get onto the site. So if they can win these battles, and kraghen is dangerously low on HP as well. So this is looking like their only opportunity to turn this into winning ways. 40 seconds left now.
You can see they're already calling Nonny over. They've heard absolutely nothing. They've cleared through all of halls. And every second they wait here, it gets harder.
And the thing is, kraghen is also clearing out in towards mid. And now with that kill, that's the confirmation. Ooh. Oh my god, Rolls. Okay. Man, Spidey sense was tingling. Both kills garnered there. Looking for a third. nifee good for 1, but will get traded out. And it's another clean round. Rolls has been on a heater this map.
Yeah, this is unprecedented. Look at the money that he sat on as well to sing the praises there. It's you said Spidey senses. I don't even know what it was. I don't think there was even an audio cue. It was just a little bit of a check back, but you know, positioning of the crosshair just immaculate. Reaction times insane. And that's exactly what we want to be saying. We were saying that individuals were being left to try piece together rounds at the start of this map, albeit for 1 round, and for the whole of the first map. Now it's individuals stepping up, but they're not leaving it to the last second. They're going proactive. They're taking these early fights, and they're winning out. They're finding these player advantages early. And it means that Team Nexel, they don't have the pieces on the chessboard to move around, to play with, to form a round here.
A little bit of time taken to have a bit of a discussion. Because again, next level, I mean, their lack of money at this point is the only thing that's next level about them. And it's a crazy turnaround from what we saw on that first map that was so incredibly dominant to looking totally lost and flustered here. Nice little HE there for some early chip damage. And all they'll need to do is that little bit of cleanup. And 9 actually giving over a fair amount of space at the moment. Red Room. Sightlines denied. But now they know there's a definite presence in towards it. There's the HE clears the smoke. He spots out a player, but can't get any shots to connect. That is a lot of info garnered, though. Now kraghen chooses to fall off a little bit, and instead of pushing forward, that's going to allow Next Level to start rotating over towards B. They've made the wrong call, 9. They think that it's angling towards A. Meanwhile, there's a stack over towards this B site, but if Next Level take too long, they're going to lose their window.
Yeah, we've talked about this. The longer they wait, the harder this gets, because 9, they've been poking and prodding. The fact that they've not heard anything, they've not seen anything. Maybe a little bit worried about mid. They're finding that potentially someone could get up into Red Room, but now that is the call, the signal. So it finds one. Now Rolls, we've talked about it, steps up. Man of the hour, only good for 1, however.
It's going to be a free rifle handed over. Oh my god, okay. Swings straight into the AWP and doesn't actually die. The shot does not ring true. And now it's a 2 versus 3 retake. Never mind, the AWP is lost. And Sejit, I mean, he doesn't have to save. They've got some decent money. But maybe he can get a couple of exits here, a bit of a relocation to see if he can catch somebody on the exit. But this was a really good round from Next Level. The info starve, while kind of baiting out a little bit in towards mid, gave them so much free reign.
Exactly, and just playing around with the fact that 9 had a lot of blind spots at the end there. We talked about how way too long and it'd be a little bit of a problem. Maybe a little bit worried at the end there that Onyx was going to go down, but alas, not to be. Oh, okay, no, I stand corrected. To the bomb.
That's rough.
With the AWP as well, right at the very last second. And they've not got amazing money.
I mean, that's kind of the call there, right? Like I was saying, they don't really need to save, but they can try and get some exits and do some more damage to the economy. They know that Next Level don't have any decent money here. Even with a round win, they're on an absolute knife's edge. Losing this round is going to put them straight back in the drink. So this is a really, really important one.
Exactly, and now straight in towards mid, starved of information in Red Room, but now they need to catch this player out. Flash is going to maybe give a little bit of a hint that somebody else is clearing these angles, but Nani waiting. All scopes at the wrong second. Both passes line of sight, however, he's going to go back and find one. Flierax has managed to find the trade and then to be the difference maker.
Ken is taking so much space. Oh, utility in hand. Rolls will shut him down. And now this is very much a doable retake scenario. Yes, the bomb has been planted, but they have numbers advantage here. So a good reposition coming through from Next Level as well. First player gets spot on that cross. So there is an inkling. It's probably going to be moving through this cave area. Shots just not landing. Rolls continues to be a problem. Now Onyx, he was on a heater on the previous map. Can that continue? Yes, it can. Headshot after headshot. 1 versus 1. Still so dangerously close. And the spray is good. 1v3 clutch for Onyx.
Just incredible stuff. The reaction time, the instincts, one after the other. But again, allowing them to isolate these fights. It's been a tale of individuals this entire map. And in some cases for 9, that's been working really well. They've managed to get themselves that little bit of a round streak. But Onyx at the end there, unprecedented to allow him in such close quarters as well. You had the utility to work with to try flush him out. But maybe just a little bit too eager with the pressure of that timer looming overhead. And that does mean that their money starting to look a little bit fractured here, 9. They're on a weak buy and there's nothing left in the banks of Team Nexel. They're looking to drive the point in here. And while early fight, so much damage, able to confirm the kill. Oh no, but that HE grenade just goes the wrong way.
He went where he thought that player was, but a good relocation allows him to survive. However, the site has been somewhat overrun. There's still forces here to hold it down, but Ken, how the hell have you gone and done that? He's just completely cleared out the site entirely on his own, and he's still alive. That bomb has been planted. It's 1 versus 2 here. Honestly, a feather is all that it would take, but a beautifully placed Molotov to slow things down, to buy them that little bit of time. He doesn't have a kit here, so this is going to have to be perfection. The AWP is waiting for him, but forces him off of the angle. Beautifully timed there, pushes in towards the back, gets a shot, slips into the smoke. 1 versus 1, taps the bomb, looking to see if he can draw out that peak, but time is not on his side. Playing against a operator. No, AWP. It's one of those days, guys. Oh, the spray does connect, but there's no time. He dies. There's no way. Yeah, he dies. Tries to save the AWP, but not to be the case.
No, it's heartbreaking as well because that Molotov you mentioned, it's so perfectly timed and so perfectly positioned as well that he does just have to sit there and wait it out. But additionally, you can see it. You can see the isolation of the fight. You can see him tap it. I would have loved just to see a stick there. You know there's an orb. You put the smoke down. You have enough of an angle, right, that you can potentially hop on it. But spends too long toying with it, too long going for it. But you've got to commend the teammates that managed to take the damage down that low. That it does come down just to a matter of bullets, because that's when people get scared. You don't want to peek out because any stray bullet could be the death of you, but you don't want to allow this opportunity for someone to slip the net to hop on that defuse. But once you found the first kill, once you know it's just that AWP, you've got a little bit more room to work against this clunky placement with it.
I think the problem there is knowing that a teammate with a rifle died so close, and so there's always that like possibility. It's such a high pressure situation as well, knowing that they've conceded so many back-to-back rounds, and now they're really feeling the brunt of that. 3 MP9s of FAMAS and a pistol is all that they're gonna have to mount this defense. They have made the right call though. Heavy kind of presence over towards the site, but how much can realistically get done? Flierax cracks straight through. Kraghen will be good for a couple though, and Nani as well managing to get his, and this is turned into an, dare I say it, a doable situation. They don't know where kraghen is coming from. I think there should be some sort of an inkling though, given that he wasn't on site with the rest of the team, so surely they need to have eyes on this. And yes, looks like they may no one's watching for him. Hello? Completely stops the plant, but that's okay. nifee manages to get those shots to connect. A 4K on the round for him, and we even out the scores.
That gets so scary. Any other weapon, right? If that's an AK, different world, right? But the fact that they're not watching from behind, the fact that they're so focused on where they're planting, it gets scary that so much health goes down at the end, because there's a world that goes wrong. But it doesn't, and that does mean that Nine's economy back in the bin. And Team Next Level, they're storming away with this. A bit of a rough half, but now the coordination, the cohesion, and these pincers onto this B site, they found a weakness, and they don't even want to look at A. They just want to keep driving the point home here.
This is where they've been getting so much of their success. There's a little bit of a lurk, yeah. Okay, up close and personal. MP9 rolls. You absolute monster. And there it is. This round has fallen apart at the seams off the back of one man and an MP9. Okay, fair enough. Nani did get one kill, but 4 of them go to rolls, and that is a stupid amount of money as well. Like, that is just the gun to get it done.
Exactly. Although, to be honest with you, maybe not too monumental in the overall scheme of things, because you're still missing a couple of key pieces, and it's the final round of the half. And if you looked at just the kills alone, if you look at the disparity between the two teams, you'd expect maybe a little bit of a different scoreline to what we're seeing. Alas, not the case. But Team Next Level, nothing in the bank, but we've seen these rushes, we've seen the aggression pay off, and now that B stopped working, they choose to nosy elsewhere a little bit. But the patience, I love the change of pace. This is not something we've seen a whole lot of them from. So ease off the gas, don't show any presence, starve them of information, and then pounce.
And of course, this is an important one. Last one in the half, as you mentioned a little bit earlier on. So you want to have a good bit of room to work with into that second half. 5 rounds is good. 6 would be better. So can they find themselves that opening? A lot of util being used over towards B, but mine not really taking the bait. There you go. A little bit of presence shown in towards Donut, but only a touch of damage done. But that gives away the game. Despite all the util over on B, someone peeks their head, and okay, there you go with that crouch peek and the shot right onto Rolls, who has been the defender of this site. Maybe they're in with an opportunity. There will be a trade to come through from that AWP, and that's going to slow them down again. Looking the wrong way. Flierax loses his life, but Oh, here, all the way over on the other side of the map, Ken has garnered some space. Beautiful shot connecting. That's going to clear out that site, but now they have to take the space. They don't have anything really to work with. Yeah, Ken loses so much HP trying to get that gun. What in the hell was that? Fully blind, and that shot will still connect, and this is now a winnable round. Yes, they do only have one rifle, but they have positioning. The bomb is planted in just the right spot for them. These last two players have to make a move. Nani will go down. Favin now has to be the hero. The first one will connect, but he doesn't have time. He's got a kit, but it's ticking away slowly but surely, and it'll be Onyx to get that final round. 6-6 at the half.
Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Everybody know we gon' do it like this. Straight from the underground. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this. Straight from the underground. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Everybody know we gon' do it like this. Straight from the underground. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this. Straight from the underground. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Everybody know we gon' do it like this. Straight from the underground. Everybody know we gon' do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Everybody know we gon' do it like this. Straight from the underground.
The tide's turned halfway through the half, and now 6-6 is where we find ourselves kicking off in the second half. Team Next Level going on to their favourite side on their map pick. It's starting to look a little bit good for them, but it was a rough start. Can they right the sins of the past? 9, they need to get a running jump into this half to restore our faith, to take this to a third map potentially, but it all kicks off right here, right now.
Low and slow is the call. Oh, yes. Dooley's up close and personal. Spots the shoulder. Shots connect, and it is excellent. But they're not going to be able to stop that bomb from getting planted. So, first objective for 9, check. That is that little bit of extra cash for them. Now, can they hold on? The Dooley's trying to make their way in, but Sejat will wrap around and get himself a second kill in this round. Oh, Rolls has also done a little bit of a wrap. Round and around we go. No one really knows where anyone else is. Down to the 1 versus 1. Onyx has to be the hero again. He's sticking it. He's just gonna stick it. Sidhot, you've got to run. You've got to push him. Hello? Oh,
No.
oh my god, bro. It was a split second. It was a literal split second.
I can't believe that. That's on a round, on a pistol round. You've got to just go for it. You can't really be trusting that it's going to be a fake in situations like that. There's been lots of these little moments, and we've talked about how for Team 9, we just wanted to see them hop on that defuse. Team Next Level, they are not going to be anywhere near as patient, nowhere near as amicable. They are going for the throat straight into mid, and they are a lot more aggressive with this mid control early on. And they have started starving 9 of any position on this map.
Ooh, that's a bit of a chunky HE, and the follow-up is fantastic. Onyx, yep, he's just laid down the law fantastically there. I thought, with a little bit of the force that went into that, maybe we'd at least see a bit of return fire, but 9 just absolutely capitulated that entire round.
Exactly. And it's going to start getting messy. We love the Tech 9 rushes, but we're having to see another one come out here once they rebuild that economy, and this gap starts to widen a little bit. Sure, it's not much right now, but when we saw just the sheer momentum that Team Next Level built up on their own CT side, a team that is so heavily favored on this, and on this map specifically. Now here we go again, run on out. The flash is great, and they do manage to overwhelm, but so much damage done, and Nature here could be lethal.
Lethal is the word, but if anyone is lethal, it is, Next Level. They're having a very... it's picked up. Let's put it that way. First half, bit wishy-washy, kind of all over the place. So far in the second half, looking much better. Onyx has... I don't even want to say stepped up. Like, he was doing really well on the first map. Towards the end of the first half, he was starting to show that same kind of prowess. And here again in the second half, just continuing to be a menace. And it feels like 9 are heavily relying on Rolls to be a bit of a hero here. Now 9 going for a bit more aggression in towards mid. And this time around, they'll get some very impactful openers with guns in hand. They now know what that win condition is. So they've shut that down and slowed things down a little bit as well. Oh, Onyx punished for that little bit of an aggressive push. And now 5 versus 2. I don't think there's much more to be done in this one.
No, this is just looking to be a save here. And 9, they haven't even started working that one over. kraghen triggered discipline for a second, just hoping to see if maybe the two are playing together. Hasn't spotted or heard anything, and they've got all the time in the world, and there's enough money on the likes of kraghen. You could potentially send someone hunting. Maybe you don't want to be too presumptuous here and lose too much when your economy's still in its infancy, but a round like this, it's definitely getting you back on the board. It's definitely the mental boon that you need to stop Team Next Level getting away with a ridiculous sort of avalanche in the making. I would like to see that bomb go down at some point, get that timer started, because the longer they wait, the harder it gets for Flierax. And there it is. Smoke comes on out, but now they know exactly where he is. They've got that whole timer to count down, so I don't suspect that we see this weapon in the next round.
I would be impressed. Ooh, smoke. Flierax. Yeah, there you go. All they had to do was spam it down. And that's all she wrote for that round. A good turnaround from 9 as well, with so many of their players surviving into the next, so they can hold on to so many of those weapons. This is exactly what they needed. I was saying, Team Next Level were looking good, but that is, to be fair, it was the pistol round, and then the conversion, and then the anti. So as soon as 9 had weapons in their hands, that's when things started to kind of turn back in their favor a little bit more, but that has to turn into momentum now. Flierax has an AWP in hand. Dovi's taken very aggressive control in towards mid here, backed up by his teammate, holding M1 and somehow managing to assist in 2 kills. Coming off the back of that, Ken flushed out of position and Rolls will shut it down, bringing it to a more even kill. So 3 versus 3 here. They know there's someone in red room, but Rolls takes so much damage. He's still able to slip away with his life.
Look at this though from nifee.
Timing is going to be a bit of a thing here. Like, I don't know if he actually... There you go. I mean, he realizes he hasn't spotted anything, so he's got to back away. It's Farvan's position that I'm a little bit more interested in, because I think that he's got such a good pivot point here. And if he catches out nifee, that could be kind of the end of this round, because that kill, in my opinion, should force next level into a save. Let's see if he checks that corner. Does he indeed? No. Oh, there it is. With that kill, surely next level go for a save here. But no, Onyx still looking to cause a little bit of havoc. Flierax is going to try to hold on to that AWP. Onyx going to try to do a little bit of damage. But is he even going to have the opportunity? And he's expending utility into this as well. That tells me he's not expecting to come out of this with his life. Flierax, okay, he's good for one. He's actually opted to push in for this. He's realized bomb hasn't been planted yet. There's a world, but that world is not this one. And that will be 9 walking away with the round.
Yeah, it's so difficult there with the player disadvantage being lost. We talked about the pivot point, and that cuts off all rotates, really. But so much low HP. The Molotov, I love the fight forward. I would have loved it to be a little bit more aggressive. You managed to get around that corner. Suddenly you found a pick or two. You alleviate the pressure. And you've given Flierax something a little bit more to work with that angle on the ult. Alas, not meant to be. And now they're going to be back on the pistols. They are stacking over towards Donuts. Actually, they're not. They're choosing to get the fight to them. And I like this. It's worked so well. They do go 1 for 1 to start with. But maybe weapons to be picked up soon. Except kraghen says absolutely not.
I think this round goes pretty much as expected. There you go. I thought maybe we get one more kill out of that one just for, you know, for the aura. But aura denied. 9 to 9. 9. Lots of 9s. Isn't that the emergency services number in
the UK? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Because 999 is UK specific. 112 is, you know, European.
Oh, the more you know. And 911 is American. So there you go.
Exactly.
For anyone who, for some reason, didn't know that.
You're learning all of the useful survival tips with us today.
I'm feeling like this is turning into that meme of like, call an ambulance, but not for me.
That has been this comeback, and with Noni Fun in that opening pick, it just rings even more true.
Well, there you go. I was a bit worried he missed that second shot, but the third one will land. He'll take a little bit of damage off the tail end of that, but 2-player advantage. What more could you ask for into this round? Now with only 3 players left here for next level. Surely now they save. Surely now is the time where they realize they need to hold on to their weapons. They didn't do it in the last round, and I thought they should have. And I'm still kind of believing that maybe they should. I don't know how Noni wins that with an AWP, man. That was a close range MP9. Like, that's just crazy. Okay, how about now? All right, Flierax, you've got the AWP. Surely you just back away and hold on to that. Ken is kind of...
Ken is dead.
I mean, yeah, no, like, he's doomed at this point. But Flierax, sure. Okay, I was almost seeing the second kill there. And yes, it does look like Flierax is going to try to hold on to this weapon instead. So there you go. 9 are so paranoid, man. They're only making their way onto the site now. They're still flashing that out. They're still worried that last player could be somewhere nearby. And honestly, after that first map, I don't blame them. But they will take this round, and finally, they'll have themselves a lead.
Yep, at long last, they've been vying for it for ages. They have finally been awarded it again. Flierax is having a little bit of a look. I get more worried the further he strays. Now, of course, they have the money to go hunting for this, and that's unfortunate. We want a save. We are being denied today. We will not be seeing any weapons come into this round as a subsequent, and it would have been an interesting one anyway. You bring the AWP into this round, you've not actually got much to support it. It would have needed to have done a lot of heavy lifting, and we haven't really seen Flierax have that same level of weighty input individually from previous maps and previous series, potentially. So I don't think necessarily it would have made a difference in terms of a round, maybe it would have been nice to get a couple more kills on the board, because now they're working with an MP9.
Yeah, I mean, a round, if there's an AWP on the board, a round is always winnable, but there are a lot of, like, dominoes that need to fall in just the right place. You've got to be getting, like, an early kill there, then you can, like, sweep up a gun, and then you've got to, like, time things perfectly. You've got to have, like, a smattering of utility. It's winnable,
You've got to not die instantly.
100%, right? There's so many caveats to that statement. And, well, it doesn't really matter because, of course, they didn't have the AWP going into this round, but who needs an AWP, I guess? Two lovely back-to-back headshots there. MP9 will continue to rain down terror. Why is this winnable? Okay. Holy brother. I nearly had a heart attack. If he had clutched that with an MP9, I mean, I think I would have.
Our lives flashed before our eyes there. Bro. I felt it as well. I've got goosebumps right now. And it's the middle of summer, and but no, that's the fact that they let it get that far, that they don't suspect that somebody's on site, and the fact that you get 2 kills there. MP9, difficult weapon for that final pick, but you said 9 have been really, really paranoid. They've been flashing onto sites that they've already fully cleared. Imagine how that's going to make them feel coming into this. We're going to see them double, triple checking everything now. They're going to get run on down here. nifee with that opening pick, and they take that ramp control, and mid now falls as well. So only one avenue onto site, and it contains nothing but death.
This is the opposite of paranoid, guys. This was them just running out into the open with no util and getting shot from, like, everywhere. This was
the demons
such a
are
weird
chasing
round.
them, but they're faster, you know? That's the logic I think they were going for. You can't hit us if you can't, catch us.
That only works if you have Tech 9s. That's my theory.
Or XMs, but I know how you feel about shotguns, so I won't push it.
If I ever see an XM rush, I will stop casting Counter-Strike. Like, I will quit. I'll be done. That will be the end of my career. That is how confident I am that no one would ever be crazy enough to do something like that. But yeah, I mean, this was a really strange round when you consider how they've been so methodically checking everything the previous rounds, and in this one they just kind of full send it.
Directly after a round where you'd expect them to be paranoid, that they just lost to somebody sat on the backside with an MP9. Timeout being called. I think it's needed. I think maybe a little bit too energetic or a little bit too ahead of themselves. So I think the opportunity, even if they're not discussing something a little bit more detailed, breaking down a plan, because this is the tipping point of the map. We are running towards the end of regulation. A win here puts them on that map point, and with the economy in a not great place for Team Next Level. This is a win condition for them here if they don't want this to drag out longer. Team Next Level, they win this. They still haven't broken the economy. They've still got a little bit of a job ahead of them, but it really does have to be a win here for them. But I think for Team 9, taking a second just to cool down and to go, guys, where did that come from? That's not like us.
What's important, I think, is that if Next Level win this round, they're in a similar position to what 9 are in right now, where they're like on the edge, and winning a round will break economy and put them into like a really good position to win out the entire map. So for both teams, this is a pivotal round to come out on top of. Beautiful flash there, and despite that, he still walks away with that kill. Waited a little bit too long, and that allowed that flash to kind of burn away. Now, being pushed heavily despite losing that first player, they will push back. They'll kick back. Flierax had a great round previously. Can he get something done now with the AWP? We're seeing some good util coming through here, but the bomb is not on the site. I repeat, 2 players are on site, but the bomb is not with them. The shoulder, but he can't connect meaningfully. nifee gets a double kill off the back of that, and Ken now has to 1v4. 2 have already been dealt with, and the third will be the stopping point, and that will be 9 on map point and on the absolute threshold of taking us to map 3.
In a world where he gets that third kill, that bomb doesn't go down, and he then has a real opportunity to win that. But that's got to be a worry for Nine. Yes, they win the round, but there are so many. It's like Dr. Strait. You've seen all of the timelines, and you've seen all of the ways that it can go wrong. So you've got to be having a look and going, right, we've had an issue with not getting the bomb onto site and planting very quickly. Maybe going forward, this is something that we need to address a little bit more, and maybe keep it on mind a little bit more. Team Next Level, we talked about it, needed to win that one to keep themselves in a position to really contend for overtime here. And I like Nine. They're pulling another timeout out here. There's no reason not to. 23-24 on regulation. You've not really got much other time to use it here. Gives them the opportunity to come up with a game plan really solid just to close this one out. Maybe a little bit of contingency in case something goes wrong. But it also means that Team Next Level don't have the opportunity to fill this, that they get stagnated as well.
I do just want to point out that Rolls is casually chilling on 29 and 11 at the moment. I mean,
What a beast.
Bro's having such a good time right now. Can he hit that 30 bomb? We'll find out. He takes so much damage early on. His teammate has to be there to keep him alive, and that'll be 2 very important kills here for Nine. Team Next Level. 3 versus 5 to give them a stay of execution straight through the smoke, and they'll bring the numbers back to an even kill. Rolls goes down, and Farvin as well. And somehow they've brought this back. Next Level have a way of making unwinnable rounds look winnable, but very seldom do they actually make it happen. nifee through the smoke takes out the AWP, back to 2 versus 2. Bomb will get planted though. It's going to come down to the retake. Very split, though. This is problematic. They're so far away from one another. They could potentially set up a crossfire. Are they aware? Caught out in the open. Caught jumping. And Onyx, with 2 kills, will give them a breath.
What on earth? They were 2 players down, 5v3. They have no map control. Somehow, they managed to claw this back. They've lost mid. They've lost sight. The fact that they're given these angles, Nine, a team that was so cautious of every shadow, of every bump in the night, now just full sending it. And to their demise, they're getting a little bit too ahead of themselves time and time again here. And now, it's going to be them that's suffering a little bit. We're going to see these Galils coming out. We're going to be seeing missing bits of utility in this final round of regulation. And again, it's off the back of the fact that they don't plant that bomb quickly. They wait, they hesitate. We talk about the bomb going down. They've actually come off of it. They don't. And that gives time for them to push through CT. So Nine, this has got to hurt. One more round to try close this in regulation.
And for Next Level, this is an important one to get us into overtime. They want to take this in a 2-0 fashion. Now Flierax very quickly forced off of his angle and potentially overrun, but no, instead they're going to respect that 3WP. There's the shot. Rolls out in the open. I don't know why he wasn't expecting that to be there. I mean, he was watching for it, but he was still walking. There was no care taken, and he loses his life for his hubris. 5 versus 4 now. We still got to play a deep past red room, way in towards the CT spawn, and in a perfect position to backstab if needed. But Nine have now slowed down dramatically. All they have is 1 Molotov, and that's what's going to have to get them onto this site. It's going to have to be dry walk up, and that does seem to be the call here. They've made their way in. Farvin has managed to get a kill onto nifee, and now they have free reign. Sajot continues to be a problem there. That lurk does activate, and Team Next Level are brought down so dangerously low. Now they're the ones who are paranoid because they have to fight a battle on so many different fronts. Now Davi has to come up massive, gets that first kill. Oh, an HE kill onto Sajot, and suddenly this is 2 versus 2. Suddenly this is doable. The bomb still hasn't been planted. Now finally it will start to go down, but the planter is killed, so that's denied. And kraghen, from a position of authority, from a position of winning, is put into the grave, and we go into overtime.
We go into overtime indeed, and I thought it was all over. nifee going down there means that this amazing crossfire they've established over on that A site suddenly falls apart. Your player and cheater is now completely alone, has no backup, and the A site has fallen. They're getting pressed from all sides, but still somehow managing to, from the back of site, you deal with and dispatch of the lurk. You've got a lurk already for the lurk, and it's just insane. I don't like that it's coming down to these really clutch moments, though, because it's not consistent. It's not it's not stable. It's not going to be what you need to keep this going long term. So I'd like to see them winning these rounds out a little bit before it gets down to the last players alive. But if it's broken, it's stupid, and it works, it's not broken, it's stupid.
I
but
disagree,
yeah,
but okay.
I'm trying to keep it positive. I'm just confused about how we've managed to bring this back 2 huge clutches in a row.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's what it takes, right? The hero plays, you gotta dig deep, you gotta find the magic, and now we move, and Onyx is on the move. Beautiful swing from him, but unfortunately there will be a trade-off there. Oh, Favin caught just on the tail end of that utility. Ken realizes there's another player, sprays through the smoke. 2 players left for 9. Not a great way to kick off this OT.
No, it is not. It's suddenly gotten really out of hand. Now kraghen had some really highlight moments themselves, not on a bad scoreline, but it's all just trying to bring this back under control before they can really start to hit at this round. But the issue that they have is they've cleared out A, they're having a look through mid, and the longer that they wait, the harder this is going to get for them, because Team Next Level, they're just systematically working through all of these angles, and suddenly there's going to be nowhere left for you to try and jump out at them.
We have had a trade-off. Maybe not a trade-off, but we've had something that brings it to something that's akin to an equalizer. You know, slowly but surely, 9 trying to claw their way back into this round. 2 versus 3 is still doable, but 30 seconds left, which means that they have to actually activate. And unfortunately, that's it. A beautiful double there will deny those hopes and dreams and bring TNL up to 13, looking much better than what we saw from them in the beginning stages of that first half. And for 9, I think the mentality or the mental boom potential here is like, I don't know how you come back from this, because you started off so strong. You had match point for 2 or 3 rounds, and you just have not been able to close it out.
Exactly, and it's only going to get worse and worse if they let anything more slip through their fingers, because this has been a half that they've looked really, really proficient on. Onyx, there's the opening pick and going for a little bit more, being so proactive and think about this. And Flierax, look, it is hot, it is spicy on the trigger.
Flierax has been such a monument on this site, shutting down everything before it has an opportunity to activate, but now flushed straight off of his angle. Sightlines completely denied. That gives over the site to 9 just about. Still, again, that paranoia coming back, and with good reason. They have capitulated far more rounds than they should have off the back of messy plays. Flierax finds the tiniest gap in the smoke, and you will capitalize now. Noni, yep, good for 1, but it's 2 versus 4. You've got a battle to fight on multiple different fronts. The bomb has been lost. Your teammate is on A. There's just under a minute left. Like, there might be a universe, but I'm going to be honest, folks. I don't think this is that universe.
No, especially after those missed shots, but was found 1. I never want to count them down and out. 15 HP, we've seen them do it on less, but 25 seconds to get to the bomb, surely not. I think also something that's quite interesting to highlight here about Flierax, there we go, there's the kill, is that something just really small that I love that I've seen from him, is that if there has been a moment, even no matter how minuscule, where somebody might have managed to get even the slightest timing on him, he immediately falls back. Instead of going and taking a look and trying to find it, or hanging around to see if someone immediately falls back, so that if somebody has managed to get a little bit ahead on that one, for instance, he's hiding behind the pillar, somebody's managed to get out of ramp, he falls back into excavation, and it means that any information they had, any timings they could have gotten him to overrun him, it just doesn't work. He resets and hits again, and it has been just so successful.
People are now so close to that finish line. Onyx has really come alive. I mean, he was already performing well prior to this, but it's just picked up even more in the last few rounds. A beautiful opener from him. An opportunity into this. Okay, nasty little adjustment there from Zidane. Will bring them into a more doable scenario. Uncharacteristic missed shot there from Flierax, realizing he's being pushed from two sides. That time, he will hit that shot, but he'll take a lot of damage for it. That's going to call over rotations, however, so if you can just buy a little bit of time, that Molotov is massive, and the follow-up from Nani is perfect. 3 versus 3, certainly doable, but the site is now fully in Nine's control. The bomb will get planted. It all comes down to who can get this next kill. That will be the big potential difference maker. HE comes out, does a bit of damage, not enough for cleanup, does flush Nani out, and those shots do give away the game ever so slightly, but they're not trusting their senses. Now they will spot him out. Nani pushes through, gets his, but gets traded, so we're still in 2 versus 2 territory. Still very even here, but with those individual swings, it will be easy cleanup for Nine. Their first round in the first half of overtime, but they're still very much alive in this game.
That they've bought themselves a lifeline to cling onto. They had a much better CT side than we saw from their tees. So hopefully that one round is enough for them to use as a springboard to continue here. We can get the AWP back out on Nani, who has had a little bit quieter at times, but overall pretty good, pretty successful. I'm loving the T-side counter up immediately from Flierax, though. So much of a fight in mid, but it is going to be to next level that get out. However, it's all backfiring. Yes, the flashes are good, but you're still only going 1 for 1, and on CT side, that does not favor you.
Well, there we go. Brings it down to an even kilter, but is that going to make... Oh my god, okay, Flierax. That's a really rough way to be caught just out in the open beyond the utility there. Similar situation for Seja, trying to play against the smoke and be a little bit sneaky, but does get caught out. Now bomb makes its way over towards this A site, a free pathway. That'll get put down very easily. I do like the positioning from Ken, though. I think the potential for the backstab is there, but being so far away, that's the thing, right? There's the possibility of Onyx being completely overrun here, but if Onyx plays for time, doesn't show his face and instead plays a little bit further back, listens for the sound of the tap and waits for his teammate to get into position, and that's exactly how they're playing this. This could still work out. Ken has found himself in position, but now he's going to speed things up a little bit, and that is his downfall, unfortunately. Team HE, that feels like, but either way, that defuse should come through, and that will be us evening out the scoreline.
It hurts to see that, because you're right, is that I like the idea of them playing together, and they have to play for time, and they try to, but the issue is right at the very end is that you have that player who's been onside the whole time goes down, and instead of, you've bought just enough time, instead of trusting that you've got that time to get around the corner and stop anyone that's hopped on a defuse, right? Immediately starts running. And what was it all for then? You've walked this whole way, you've got this backstab, your teammate goes down, you're the only person left alive. You start running after they die, they know exactly where you are. I love the play up until that point, but you just needed to hold the nerves for just a second longer there.
And I think that is a huge issue, particularly when you're getting to this stage, and particularly for a team. I know, obviously, we're not talking about Nine right now because they've just won that round, but it could potentially become a thing when you realize that kind of your back is against the rope and you have to be able to steel your nerves that little bit more. And that's kind of what they did in that previous round, being able to still hold on to that little bit of advantage that they had and leveraging that into a round win. It's so incredibly important here, and they need to just keep doing that if they want a chance to go into map number 3. But here we go. We're still in overtime, folks. 14-14 at the moment. Nine looking for some sort of an opening here. Flierax spots out that player. Can't quite get the angle that he wants, though, so will not pull that trigger. This is a much slower play than what we've seen in a lot of our previous rounds. I thought Rolls might opt to go aggressive there, but instead we're seeing a little bit more passivity from this Nine roster. However, this is going to be one of the first times that we are seeing the push in towards this A site in a hot minute, and it does end up in a trade, but they get control of the site fairly easily. Oh, I feel like that could so easily have become a collect, but ultimately not to be the case. And somehow, despite gaining control of the site, they fall like flies. They still have control of the bomb. They're still in on the site, but they know that they're at a player disadvantage, and they don't know where every one of these players are. The timing on this is so perfect from nifee. Catches Flierax while scoped in, and suddenly this is not winnable for Team Next Level. Onyx would have to go absolutely nuclear, and Rolls will shut that down. Map point now for 9, but we've seen them in this situation before, and it did not go very well.
No, it didn't. And again, it's only one round needed to equalize this, take us to another overtime. So if anyone can do it, Team Next Level, they've already shown it that they can. But it's certainly getting uncomfortable here. I'm loving what I'm seeing from 9. I'm loving the trade spacing coming out here as well, that they're always so able to trade. I love Flierax. At the beginning, they're holding the nerve, but the issue is they just get pincered too easily on site. You've just left players stranded on A, being pushed from, you know, both Donuts and from CT. You just don't have enough control beyond the site to leave people stranded like that. And so this time, yes, they're going slow again, but I'm liking the bunching up a little bit more here.
Need to be able to play off of one another. That's such an important factor in this. Kraghen will get one, but both he and nifee have taken some significant fire. So they're going to have to perhaps give up a little bit of space here. You can actually see he's traded out places with Sajat. Nice shot from nifee. Despite that shot connecting onto him, does not clean him up, and that's really important. But now he's going to get flushed out. That's going to bring it into what would have been a doable situation if not for that trade. 9 now, 3 versus 2, but bomb has been planted, and somehow kraghen loses that battle, or rather wins that battle against Onyx. Now Flierax has to somehow defend this bomb against the encroaching hordes. Has no idea that there's a player behind him. Not a clue. And he will get shot from behind. Not a knife, you know. We're trying to keep this a little bit more civil. But that will be 9 securing themselves that second map. And yes, folks, contrary to what you may have thought after our first map, we will indeed be having a third.
That we will, and it comes as a little bit of surprise as well, which is, it's always exciting. We always love to see a third map, and when these two teams collide, it's never you.
And welcome back, everybody, to ESL Pro League Season 22 European Qualifiers, where we have just come off the other side of a rather unexpected turnaround. 9 managing to snag their opponent's map pick and bring us over onto map number 3. I'm Naira Mizuki, and I am joined by Affinity, and well, here we are, ready to kick off our third and final map of the series.
Exactly. If you'd asked me after map 1 whether this was going the whole distance, I would have said absolutely not. Yet here we stand. Clutches upon clutches bring it close, but it's not quite enough for Team Next Level. But here they go on to Anubis, a map they've both dueled on before. And the pistol round started off. It's a little bit of damage, but Joey can't quite find the pick.
No one finding much of anything just yet, although Next Level get themselves a decent little bit of map control here. Oh, not if they take too long. Nice little kill in towards mid here. Gives them a free rotation. And nifee will shut down most of the anchor over towards A, but bomb has been dropped. That's okay. They have control of the site. Now we're going to fan out a little bit. Oh, perhaps that wasn't the right call to make because Sajat loses that fight. And now it's 3 versus 1. And kraghen has to somehow clutch this one out. Ooh, questionable decision making there.
Yeah, a couple of moments where you'd rather pretty much any other decision to be made there. But when it gets to that point, you lose your initial planter. You're just trying to get the bomb down. We talked about something that 9 really struggled with. And a lot of rounds, they really got burnt by the fact that they weren't putting that bomb down early. And now was there... Oh, my God. Sorry, I'm interrupting myself. You know what I've just seen, Sam? Oh, and the round has started, Sam.
You okay?
Oh, this is the best present in the world. There's an X, Sam.
Guys, why would you give this
Peeking
to Affinity?
main with it,
like,
yes.
why would you do this?
And no one's going. That's the worst part about this whole thing,
That's
Sam.
the
Not
best
that there is
part
an
about
XM.
this.
It's that no one's going that way.
No, I love this. Absolutely cuck the XM.
No,
Denied.
don't cuck the XM. No.
Every time. Look at this distance. It's gonna get absolutely no value. I love this. Good on you guys. Good on you.
The longer they wait, potentially they manage to move it around. But I don't think so. This is not a retake weapon. You know what? I will give the XM its main flaw. It is not a retake weapon.
I will say, more exciting to me, 3 Tech 9s and 2 Mac 10s. Can somebody say Tech 9 Rush? Maybe. 1 flash, 3 smokes. There is a world. But they have to do a little bit of contacting here because, well, they don't really have the space to look at all that. It's been read into, and they get cut off at the pass. However, flying Sajat. Nice little trade-offs there. 3 versus 3 now. And they're not entirely sure. Well, actually, yes. With a little bit of a push out into mid here, they are aware that they have been pushed all the way in towards the CT spawn. But from there, this is really good decision making from Team Next Level. They just corral these final players. But a lot of damage has been done. And now kraghen is left in a 1v2. Oh, I thought he was going to plant. I thought he was going to stick. And no, that extra bit of money gets denied.
There's the XM switcher now. The ace up the sleeve just in case, but alas, not meant to be. But yeah, again, bomb doesn't get planted, and that's another problem for them. But the issue is, I love the proactivity. I love the attempts to rush and overwhelm there. But I think it's a difficult one. Is they're losing so many of these fights up close, right? Is they're not going for these trades. They didn't manage to get that trade. They got mowed down by the MP9 in close range, and that's going to be loads of money in the bank account. Very difficult to deal with. But the fact that you weren't ready for someone when you're pushing onto a site and you've got no information, you need to be a little bit more on the ball with that.
This round should be somewhat of a foregone conclusion.
Should be. I'm not willing to write it off though, because we've seen a lot of eco rounds today.
Sure, I mean, you're not wrong. But with the pacing that we're seeing right now, I think it would be rather impressive. And nope, just continually being sat down. I do love that we're kind of playing past the parcel with the Eagles here. Everyone gets an opportunity to try to win a prize, but no prize is given today, unfortunately. Rolls now 3 HP. A little bit of damage would be nice, recover one of these rifles, but seemingly unlikely. They're going to push straight into him. He's going to get put in the grave, and that's a quick 3-0 for TNL.
I don't know if you've noticed it as well, then. I heard it at the end. Burst fire has been coming a little bit more back into play. Because I used to never, you'd go months and months and months, and the only time you'd ever hear that little click is crickets, people just fidgeting before a round, right? I've actually started seeing the burst fire come back in a little bit more. I don't know how I feel about it, but it is something quite interesting that we have seen make a little bit of a resurgence.
Interesting to see if that kind of continues to pick up in trend or if it gets nerfed into the ground. Tune in next time, we'll find out. Nice little bit of util chaining there. There's a teeny bit of damage. Oh, Can suffers for that little bit of an advanced position. Dobby ahead of the molly, but that's okay. A double person swing. Not able to get too much off the back of that. This is good from 9. Just, okay, there you go. I mean, that could have been worse. That actually is not terrible. I've lost my train of thought now. Good from 9. Slowing things down a little bit and allowing Next Level to get a little bit antsy. Pushing out, taking space, and 9 are just kind of chilling. Waiting for them to walk into their crosshairs. Now, 2 players left alive here. Both of them hunkered down on this B site, which is where the bomb is posturing. So, maybe they can get a little bit of damage done here. They've already done a little bit of chip. So, if they can maybe get a nice little spray through, get 1 or 2, you know, do some of that econ damage, that would be pretty sick.
Low health bars as well, mind you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So a little bit of a tickle might be all it takes. There you go. First tickle to come through. Nice prediction there from nifee, realizing that that's likely to follow up. So he'll keep his life that little bit longer. Flierax, maybe a little bit too eager with that one. Does get punished for it. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits in there. Like, they throw the smoke out, and instead of letting 9 just have that connector control, falling back and re-establishing on site, I'm not sure how I feel about the pushing around the edge of the smoke to try re-establish the control there. I feel like maybe just a little bit of an overextension would have been nice just to see them try keep a couple more people in the server for the round. But not meant to be. 9 going to secure themselves at last round on the board, and this time a little bit earlier on, which is always good. Nothing too silly just yet. And now 9 change the pace. They're going to fall back. They're not going to push this. And they're going to let Team Next Level actually be the aggressors here.
And they've kind of been doing that, right? Like, this is the second round that they're allowing that to happen. But it looks like Team Next Level are actually opting to play this a bit more careful. Oh my god! The timing on that was kind of nasty. Ken caught with utility out, the perfectly timed swing to shut him down. That's a great opener here from 9. Potentially the springboard to propel this round. And again, they don't kind of accelerate off of that. They keep those brakes pumped, idling a little bit, waiting for just the right moment, baiting out some of that util as well, putting themselves in a much better position here. Look at that. They've whittled this down. All that Next Level have now after the smoke is 1 molly and an HE. And 9 still have so much utility to work with here. If they can leverage this well, this should be a fairly simple one for them. How Nani is allowed to get that control is beyond me, but cannot follow it up. He will get traded out, but that's okay because 9 still have all the control in the world. Now start moving in towards this B site. There is someone pushing in behind. Nope, he's gone on the long path, which means that they have so much time now to set up this post plant, and they have set up a flank of their own. So Onyx is probably doomed. Yes, sorry, not Onyx. Flierax is doomed, and Onyx has to try and hold on to the AWP.
Exactly. Is such a difficult one. I think the decision to go the long way around required, if there's no flank, maybe we see something a little bit different. And we do see Flierax having a look for it, just isn't quite as ready and wary as he should be, perhaps. But yeah, lovely stuff from 9 there. Switching out, loving the poking and prodding. Team Next Level, it feels like they're giving away a lot of freebies here. Like they're going for these information plays, but they're not getting information that's worth the trade-off. It's very high risk, very low reward. So they're losing a lot of these opening jewels, meaning they're going into these situations where they're leaving, you know, just one player. I think it was Joy, for instance, was stuck holding down the whole of that B site solo and being pressured from all directions. You've lost all support elsewhere. And it just makes it way too easy to pick apart. You send in a single Molotov, you displace that player, and then suddenly you've got a whole site, player advantage, the stars aligning more.
Sometimes that little bit of magic is what it takes. Now, we spoke in the previous map about how it's always winnable if there's an AWP. Let's see if this is one of those times where they do actually make that magic happen. They've already run rampant onto the site here. Kraghen, oh my goodness, instantly head deleted, but that's okay. Nani is there. Faven to follow him up, and the last 2 players here. Well, let's face it, there wasn't too much more to be done in that round. I feel like 2 was actually pretty decent, but unfortunately this time around, no win.
You went full British for a second there as well. I heard that. I heard the surprise, the shock. But yeah, that's a difficult one. It's nice that they get 2. I think that 9's ability to adapt to the chaos there in the moment, with the whole ground being on fire, losing 2 players, the fact that they're still able to dance around the pillar and not let any more weapons be taken out of their hands is really good stuff from them. Team Next Level, they need to find something in this round, however, because, you know, equalizing picks, it's not going their way immediately, but they are going to lose this lead if this doesn't go their way, and they've not been able to re-afford that AWP, so something here, a win would just be a nice tally in their chart right now.
I mean, we've been in this position before, 3-3.
Deja vu.
Yeah, all over again. Let's see if history repeats itself further, or if maybe we have a change in the winds of fate. Rolls has been a little bit quieter on this map compared to the previous, and he really was one of the big proponents for 9 on that one, but Sajat's really stepped it up into this one. So at least they've got that. You know, when somebody doesn't perform, somebody else can step up. That's always a good thing to have if you can't have everybody firing on all cylinders 24/7, 365. Ooh, nice little HE to do some cleanup there. And now next level, suddenly find themselves in an advantageous position. Now that Molotov comes from mid, so that does give over that information. So surely there should be some sort of cognizance. No one is checking for this. Oh my god, they're still so focused in towards mid. No one realizes that they've already breached A, or rather B. Letters are hard. Okay, there's an inkling. There's now an inkling, but Darby realizes he has to let go of the site. He can't solo hold this, and now they find themselves in that retake scenario, but 4 versus 3 is certainly doable. A lot of the utility has come out as well, but Nine still have a bit to work with, a little bit of stall potential still available to them, and this is a two-pronged attack, 2 from each side. So this sandwich could be devastating, but no, Favin is ready and waiting. Shots connect perfectly, and these four players with so much on their backs capitulate a round that they really should not have.
No, that gets really, really messy, and it's the fact that I don't mind when a team doesn't really play mid and lets them have that space. It's the fact that there's such an information vacuum, and you called it. Like, surely they're cognizant of that. It just wasn't. It felt like there was so many areas of the map that just covered in the fog of war, and they weren't really adapting to be wary of that. So they let all of mid go, but they're making no presence to look behind them. And it means they just get stabbed in the back, and even though they've got a little bit of an advantage at the start there, bomb goes down, something we've criticized time and time again. This time, not going to have the sins of the past repeated. Ken, ooh, lucky to be alive. Dead man walking.
This is going to be a nice little opportunity for Nine as well, right? This anti-eco that will put them up onto 5, give them a solid lead in this half. They'll be feeling a lot better with that one. I mean, we came into this one and we just about counted 9 out. You know, they've had a bit of a streak of bad luck with their games leading up to today, and they've never been able to, or they haven't been able to beat next level up until this point. So I think on paper, it certainly felt like this was a cut and dry affair. And after that first map, it certainly seemed to reinforce that. So to see them now, you know, pushing back, there's no way. No way, bro. Okay, can't make it a third at least. So this is certainly, I mean, if they let this slip into a lost round, then I'm losing some redeeming qualities here. 3 versus 3. Certainly still losable, apparently, as Ken brings it to 3 versus 2. They've made their way in onto the site. No. Dear Lord, Sajat's died as well. And now it's all down to Kraghen. He doesn't have control of the bomb. The last couple of players are still here. And if they don't isolate themselves, wait. You have to wait for your teammate. Beautiful piece of utility there with that smoke. And Kraghen now, the last bastion for 9 in this round, goes for the plant and gets shut down. There's no way that 9 have thrown that one.
It's off the back of an incredible start, and it's like, oh, this is getting scary. They get the 2 equalizing kills, and you're like, okay, that should be the end of that madness, right? Absolutely not. And it's rounds like that, yes, the shots are incredibly clinically clean, but if you're losing rounds like that, you deserve to lose rounds like that. If you're letting those shots happen, if you're not finding a way to adapt, and at the end there, you know that you're pressed for time, all they have to do is bide that, go for the peak around. Even if they've lost at that point, that's all they could want. And there they are, opening pick again, just to keep the momentum rolling. And mechanically, it is looking on point here.
I mean, a round like that is certainly a confidence booster, and that allows Flierax to be like, oh wait, actually, I can be an aggressive AWP and take that opening duel there, win that one out pretty darn handedly. And now they've done a ton of damage as well onto some of the remaining players, so that's going to cause 9 to have to kind of slow down a little bit and maybe, you know, rethink their approach into this round. Getting shut out of A so quickly. Do they realize how heavy the stack is towards A? That's the big question here. Yes, there was a little bit of util thrown at them, but it hasn't given away that much of the information. Now, the bomb has pivoted away and is angling over towards this B site. Mid is being held by the AWP, so they don't have a lot of options here. Oh, nifee. Head caught out. It's a bit of a pixel angle there, but it's a perfect trade-off.
The timing on that in canals, though.
I think Sajat wins this, maybe. Do they Onyx turned around. There's a chance here that he can get back into sight, but unfortunately that means that there is a lurk set up. Never mind, Rolls is just going to sit him down. And 9 off the back of an unfortunate round have found themselves back in winning ways.
Exactly. I think maybe if that goes a different way, if Onyx manages to find a pick there, it cracks open for the teammates a little bit more. Just because it looked like, had so much control of mid and canals. It probably called over to team, look, there's nothing. I've seen nothing. And whilst they hadn't cleared all the way through A main there, it felt like they looked pretty assured that they were safe from that angle. You find a pick, suddenly your teammates can help you crunch down on this site. Yes, there's a player that's that little bit of a backstab, and maybe Onyx does go down to that, but you've got your other teammates available. But unfortunately, it all hinged on that. It didn't come to fruition. 9 get themselves another round and put themselves in the lead, but a cat and mouse game going on with the rounds here, and 2 saved weapons. You talked about it. Any round with the AWP is a round that could be done indeed. And it's going to have maybe not as much support from the rest of the team, the 2 A1Ss. There's going to be a lot of utility, but Onyx and nifee, they might be struggling on the weapons front here. So I want to see something quick, something to help them scoop up just an extra weapon right off the bat. And a timeout being called to have a little bit of a pause, a discuss about how to go forward, how to break this stalemate of back and forth.
I do enjoy the fact that we've had some change-ups in pacing in a lot of these rounds, and that's kind of keeping things on their toes a little bit, but it's happening from both teams, so neither one of them is really getting a clear and solid read on what the other team wants to do, and that does make things that little bit more complicated. Of course, map 3 is a bit of a handshake map. It's the map that both teams are feeling somewhat confident and comfortable on, but not comfortable enough to actually pick it, so you never really know. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Now, speaking of a mixed bag, this buy is a bit messy for next level, but they're opting to force into this one, and I think a lot of that, it's largely off the back of knowing that they do have that AWP, so they want to have something to back that up if they can. And 3 rifles plus the FAMAS and the MP9 certainly put a little bit of a bite into this. But again, so much space given over here. This time around, however, they're taking some very strong mid control. Timing on this could be everything. They'll be in the smoke. Oh, the barrel of the gun gets spotted. He will get taken out for that, but now they know there is presence here towards Dark. So Onyx waiting for the timing, and it's perfect. He sprays through alongside his teammate Ken. Will get 2 for himself. Noni, the no-scope does not connect, and now Rolls has to 1v4. And honestly, I don't think this is going to happen. It was such a good read from next level to reinforce this B site, and 9 could not set a foot.
Yeah, it is. It's in my notes. It's the biggest and boldest thing I have written about this 9 team is that they love to sort of pop flash through these smokes, right? But the issue is Team Next Level are so aware. They've played against this team on this map before. They've seen this time and time again and throughout the series. So they're so ready for it. They know the resmoke goes out. They know that they're feeling the pressure to burst onto the site. So they just wait for the flash to come through. They line up and they get mowed down, and it's just absolutely incredible to be seen here as well. Now Onyx this time a little bit more aggressive. I love the drop down into canals here. Joy though, odd second guesses himself. Now Onyx wants to part the smoke and have a look. There is the equalizing pick, and it's enough for now just to back away.
Part of me was timing, but part of me was like, I'm sure that you saw that person. Oh my god, Kraghen, okay. Suspecting someone there. As soon as the shots come through, that does confirm it. That brings them back into an advantageous position. Now Next Level are in some serious trouble because trying to hold down the site with so few numbers, and look at how patiently 9 are playing this. I mean, they're not even angling. Okay, Bomb is kind of posturing towards A, but they still have so much control across the map, even if it is just in the lower third of it. If Team Next Level show themselves, they'll have that information available to them. It's an interesting read from Team Next Level as well to start moving in towards this A site. And I think it's because of how difficult it is to retake on A. You want to rather try and shut that down if you can. Maybe play retake towards B. However, with the shot connecting there onto the AWP, they know the AWP is here. And let's face it, there's a good chance that it's a solo AWP because there's 3 players left alive. And that's the most powerful gun in the game. So if you're going to leave somebody on their own, it could very well be that AWP player. Now Onyx has to wait for reinforcements, and they're coming in so slowly. It's like pulling teeth, but Onyx continues to be a bastion, has brought it to 2 versus 2, and if they win this round, it's all off the back of his hard work, but can they get it done? Ken with that first kill, and nifee is there to make sure that he doesn't lose his life, and that should be a free and clear defuse for TNL.
Incredible scenes to be seen here. I was hesitant for a second. Ral's just throwing enough utility kept both of those A-side players there. And so the read actually from TNL to keep moving people over and to not put too much stock in the little bits of util being thrown as a bait is really good to see. But it does all rely on the fact that Flierax just a turret at the back of that site. Close combat. You could say it's a little bit like a shotgun the way that orb was being used, but I love to see it. I think it's great to see, and put 6 rounds on the board. Getting a little bit nervous. It's still quite close here, but final round of the half, the buy's not going to be amazing, because even with the bomb going down, they've just not really been able to find enough footing in the economy here, and what an HE grenade.
I might give them a little bit of wiggle room at the very least, but ooh, nice bit of follow-up as well, turning this into... Oh my goodness, okay, Flierax missing that shot, scoping in, getting run over, somehow Ken dies in a Molotov, and that's just a little bit unfortunate. Now kraghen waiting for those rotations to come through, holding down the line. That site was the freest take. That's one of the best execs we've seen out of 9 all day. Very curious that it took this long to get it done. 2 versus 3 retake, and as mentioned a little bit earlier on, this site can be so treacherous to retake on. A smoke and a flash is all that they'll have to try to enable this one, but walk straight into Nonny's scope. kraghen to get the final kill, and once again we end off at a 6-6 stalemate of a half.
Counting up coins for a soda can, and there's nothing going on, no game plan, no plans. So I'm jumping out the fire, back into the frying pan. I'm trying to disconnect from the stats and the spray tan. Just another piece of
Welcome back, one and all. We could not have left it at a more even scoreline, but here we go, 6-6 on our decider map. If you'd asked us after that 13-3 in map number 1 whether we'd be going the full distance, I would have laughed at you, but alas, no, we are not, and here we are kicking off our final pistol round, and I'm seeing not 1, but 2 mysterious decoys on the side of Team Next Level.
I always find it fascinating watching to see how the decoys actually do get used, and I imagine so the most common way that I've seen is obviously as like a flash, so to get people to turn away, so that you can like run in, and it makes sense. We'll see how they opt to use it. There you go. Unsure. We'll get him next time. Let's see what the next one is for. There we go. That time.
That's a real flash.
There we go. Oh, that wasn't real flash. Wait, what happened to the second decoy? Nobody knows. We'll get the cast and crew of Stranger Things on it, but it's gone. It's lost to the ether, and now our team are attempting to overrun onto the site, and overrun they shall. Rals will fall. Flierax expecting this flank, ready and waiting for it, and well, Faven 1v3 now as he gets the first. Can he isolate these? Nope. Shot to the dome and 1 to the chest. It's almost an assassination, and TNL will go up by 1.
That they do. I love that, just hiding in the corner, waiting for the smoke to fade, and then just suddenly a figure appears. Beautiful stuff there coming out, and it means they will be able to afford everything they want and a little bit more going into this round. And unfortunately for 9, it feels like they've been cursed with this. They start the half again with a really unfortunate financial situation ahead, constantly just trying to push this rock up the hill, but it is just going to be a full eco here to try scrap something together in the next, and they are going to stack over towards this B side. And no longer are we seeing the long range pistol stack. This time playing a little bit close together, a little bit close to the angle.
This does make a lot more sense. I mean, this was something that we'd actually mentioned a little bit earlier on as well, right? Like trying to make one of these stacks from range, even with a USPS stack, like it's very difficult to get the desired effect. The other thing that makes it difficult to get the desired effect is when the T stack is going A and not B where you have made your stack. So this should be a free take. Bit of a foregone conclusion. An 8th round on board for TNL. Maybe a couple of exits. That would be quite snazzy, but I think that's a little bit unrealistic at this point.
Yeah, it's not looking particularly likely. All of the fire across the map, they are going to be none the wiser until that bomb goes down. And then it's just going to be a haphazard dash. I think Team Next Level, they're going to know that it's just against the ecos. They're very worried that maybe it's a little bit closer than it actually is, this supposed retake attempt for weapons. But slowly they crawl, but it's given them so much time to establish a really solid post plan. And if you have a look at where Flierax is, they know there is no immediate danger, so they're just going to keep sending bodies this way.
Around the corner. Okay. Only good for 1 off that one. Another one? No. Alright, so just the 1. No weapons recovered, unfortunately. And as predicted, round goes exactly as we thought it would. I wasn't sure if they'd actually even get the 1 kill, so maybe that's the one kind of spanner in the works of the round, but ultimately it goes as we suspected. Now 9 are going to be in the money, so to speak, and they'll be able to get a buy into this one. See if they can stem the tide a little bit, yeah. Because we came in at an even half, it does mean that they've got a little bit of wiggle room. So losing that pistol and the conversion, not the end of the world, and still more than recoverable. Which is, you know, we couldn't say the same for our very first map, where we went in at a 9-3, and of course, that ended out exactly as expected.
Yeah, but this is looking better. Maybe a little bit of a worry on the side of the fact that now going on to the T side and going up ahead now with those round advantages. And but the caveat to that is that the T side for TNL today has seemed a little bit disjointed at times. It has felt maybe a little bit uncoordinated at the peaks, but here we go. There's another example. They go 2 for 1, and there's no real way to back this up. It's all individuals across the map as Ken tears on forward, not exactly making his presence unknown, and Rouse is ready and waiting.
It does feel like there's been a lot of ready and waiting, right? Like, not necessarily swinging together, but there being a person waiting for when that attempt at a repeat comes through. Now the last 2 players are going to pull straight into Rolls, who, again, Oh, he was waiting for a flash there. And he's been allowed to slip into the smoke. Straight past Onyx. Onyx now has to know that that's where he is, because didn't spot him on the way through. Expecting a re-push, so rolls mollies him off, but also mollies him onto the site. Traps him there, but joke's on you. He's not trapped with you. You're trapped with him. That bomb will get planted, and in a 1 versus 2... I mean, this is certainly doable, right? 2 1v1s. This can get done. Spots the first, doesn't land the shot. That information's going to be given over to Nani. So Onyx now going for a little bit of a reposition, but no, walks straight into Rolls' crosshair, who slipped the net, and that will be 9 returning fire and getting themselves back into contention.
Yeah, to be honest, credit where it's due, staying alive as long as they did at the end there. Because you not only managed to slip the net once, you don't get tickled by the Molotov, which would have been the audio cue needed to know what was happening. You managed to get onto site, you managed to plant the bomb. It's incredible as is, right? The fact that you managed to slip round the corner over towards cameras is... Everything is getting... It's impressive. It doesn't really come to much. It's a difficult situation. It turns out that 9 had amazing positioning of their own. But it's small moments like that we saw 9 getting very paranoid for most of the map. It's when they stop caring that that's going to be a problem. And now I think that's the wake-up call that Team Next Level need. They need a little bit of a moment to remind themselves to be paranoid in and of itself. So... I'm curious to see if this is going to change the attitude, going to change the pace at all. It looks like there's a lot more focus being put towards mid now. That battle for A main, I say battle for A main, already done and won. And now suddenly a little bit of a vacuum over towards A side, but mid still the key location right now.
A wild aggressive position there from Kajad, thinking that maybe he should actually have gotten something off the back of that, but no. 9 just being punished consistently, whether it's for aggression or for attempting to be a bit more patient with it. Doesn't matter how you look at it, it's TNL absolutely sweeping through yet another round, and this is the right call from 9. Back away, hold on to their weapons. Would have been nice if kraghen could have held on to one of the rifles instead of just the SMG here, but there's potential for some money farm in the next round at least, so they'll have that going for them. But this was a really one-sided round. There was really no pushback from 9 either. I mean, the fact that TNL come through this completely flawless speaks volumes.
Exactly. No eyes at all towards mid. Which means that Team Next Level, they can just sort of run amok there. It gives them free reign of the site, and that's something that they were very sort of lenient with, letting 9 have that control over on their T side. It looks like they're not as willing to forget the existence of that part of the map this time. But yeah, 5 alive is exactly what you want to see. They're going to start building up this bankroll in the background that they can fall back on, so this is going to get a little bit more difficult for 9, as their own financial situation is going to remain in difficult straits. So... a round here would be nice. We said they've got the recovered weapons. It's only 1 rifle and that SMG, but they should have enough to buy or cobble together something around it. It's not going to be pretty. I won't lie to you. It is distinctly ugly buy, but it should be enough, especially with this timeout, to try formulate something might catch Team Next Level off guard.
I feel like there's a certain level of confidence that comes into a buy like this as well. When I say confidence, it's not that the buy is giving you confidence, but you have confidence in order to feel like you're going to get decent results out of this, rather than trying to kind of extend your money into a later round and making sure that you come with something a little bit more robust. And I think for 9... given the fact that they were able to win that second map and they've kept this third one so very, very close, when, as mentioned before, they came into this as the on-paper underdog, they kind of have to lean into that confidence a little bit. Yeah, they have to kind of have faith that they'll be able to pull something magical out of the bag. Again, the 3 MP9s, so a bit of money farm, certainly a possibility here. Leaving mid open again, something that we have seen from them fairly consistently. I prefer it when there's at least a little bit of presence. You know, not necessarily that you've got someone watching through a scope, but someone nearby to at least get that early information if possible. But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. Again, it is a lower buy, so strats tend to change in rounds like this. I do like that they're holding a little bit more aggressively in towards A main, because they realize that if this rush comes through, well, there's a very good chance it'll be the A hit, because it'll be easier for Next Level to shut down an attempt at a retake with a superior buy. So they hold these closer angles, waiting for that pop to come in. The problem is that now there is this potential two-pronged attack with mid being left so open. Oh my god, bro, they just dry swing it. They just walk straight into Davi, and now Sajat can't even get one, and he's instantly put down, and all the best laid plans go to waste as the last two players now, surely they again just go for that save.
You'd expect them to, wouldn't you? But I'm not 100% sure how effective it's going to be if Haven's found the first one, but it does look like they want to pressure this, and they've absolutely got the finances to do so. They are surrounded on all sides here. As you can see, you've got the press in from nifee on one side, you've got Onyx on the other, and there's no real escape forward. But Team Next Level, the patience here, just waiting them out, hoping they can maybe just have the pressure boil over to force this out. But it seems they're unwilling to move much further here. I think also something that might be quite interesting to note that we haven't brought up is we said yesterday about how TNL were playing EEF versus Lithuania. They came second overall, but lost, of course, in the final. Means that they are probably still playing from LAN, which might have some interesting effects. Of course, there's a lot more synergy, a lot more that you can do on LAN. The energy can be a lot more hype. So when it goes this longer distance, I think maybe that's something that works quite well in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that you can be right there. I mean, one of my esports teams, two of them, in fact, from different games, have just come off of a LAN. And it does. I mean, it makes such a big difference to be right there. We all know how much of a boon it can be, boosting your morale and boosting how well you work together for that time. But given the performance on that second map, I think it might take a little bit more now. Ken spots out one player on the bridge, suspects the second, has to relocate because, well, there are reinforcements on the horizon. It's a stunning spray through for him to get three players, swaps over to another, but cannot stop the Ferrari swing, unfortunately, but he's done his job more than in spades. The last two players from 9 have no hope here. Now Sajat with the USP has to mount a miracle, and the miracle will be denied as TNL go up to 11.
That they do, and it's exciting stuff. Ken single-handedly there manages to secure them the round. Maybe if he falls, it's a bit of a different situation, but I don't think necessarily too monumental. But the fact that he manages to get 3, 2 of them having dropped down, even though he dies there, he's got enough kills, he's got enough information about where the rest of the reinforcements are coming from that his team can just converge. They're on a sort of roll here. 11, they're 1 away from that all-important series point here as well, which means 9. This is the final round that they're going to have this by. It has to be here and now. They've got the ult on Nani, who is just not having, he's not having an amazing map here. We've seen some really highlight moments previously. This is not one of them right now, and he's just being locked out time and time again. And Team Next Level systematically just approaching angle after angle, taken down, cordoned off by the smoke, and assassinating their opponent. Manages to find one in the smoke, but it is trades. There's a little bit of team damage in the mix of all of this as Onyx gets taken down, but it's a miracle that 9 need.
Nani being a bastion on the site here, still actually managing to get so much done, keeping it in a far more contestable position. Rolls on the lurk, and that's it. 2 versus 1 now. Bomb has been planted, and Ken can win this, but no, he cannot. Nani shuts it down. A defuse to come through. 3 kills from him. He heard you, bro. He was like, Affinity just said that I what? All right, hold
my bad.
my
I was unfamiliar with the game. My bad.
Yeah.
I do kind of stand by it. Up until this round has been a little bit quiet, but
sure,
credit where it's due, you know? In a very important round of all of the rounds to switch online, that had to be it. Even a split second later, you know, the AWP is not the ideal weapon in that situation. But, you know, kudos and commendations where it's own. Flierax now AWP of their own, fed up of, you know, this being a little bit of a one-sided torrid affair. So here we go, Nani back in towards mid, but it's only a leg shot.
Only a leg shot, but certainly some follow-up could come off the back of that. And, well, who needs to follow up anything? There you go. Nice little bit of counter damage done, but the push is still coming in thick and fast onto this A site. However, despite all the damage done, they actually do manage to shut down the last remaining player on site. That was, of course, Nani, who did so much in that previous round, and in this round, he gets shut out a little bit here. kraghen tries to push through the smoke, catch them off guard, and he himself will be caught off, and what a fashion for TNL to take us onto map and series point.
Yep, here we are at long last, probably kicking themselves that it's taken them this long to do so. They have won both of the series against this team prior and leading up to this. They want to make it number 3. They want a clean run here, and they have got everything they want and more. They know that the buy isn't going to be amazing. Everything was thrown into that last round, so they know finances will not support that full buy. They don't have to be wary of an AWP. They really don't have to be wary about A1Ss around every single corner, and that is going to be a huge mental boon to come into this with, because it just eases the pressure off just a little bit more. And they have 4 opportunities now. They were the comeback team in that second map, not quite able to take it over the line, but they did make that comeback. This time, all they have to do is stave it off for 4 more rounds.
Is that all they have to do?
I say it's all they have to do. I feel like 4 rounds is enough rounds that's kind of like, it's not a massive uphill battle. You know, you can sneeze and accidentally win a round. But finances might start to get sticky here.
Given how some of these rounds have gone, I do think that seems more astute than what it should. But it is an MP9 round, so let's see how much they can get done in this one. Now the round begins, and Next Level looking to close this one out, to go for a slow and steady approach. A little bit of spray through that smoke, looking to catch someone off guard, but not going to be allowed to. The suppressive fire, however, will dissuade any thoughts of a potential advance across that bridge. That gives Next Level a little bit of time to work with. It does not, however, force anyone to move. So now, as they start making their way up towards the top of the bridge, they have to be very wary of these up-close and personal MP9s. Do they throw any utility through this? No, they don't. First player lost. Sajat and Nani, hand in hand, will get 3. And Flierax is only able to get 1 off of that. And okay, maybe it really was all they have to do, as Ken now is stuck in a 1 versus 4. The MP9 stack a few rounds back did not work, but this time they make the magic happen. Team Next Level, bomb lost. Ken, surely at this point, all you can do is back away.
Exactly, and it's kind of risky to stack so many players there in towards mid. But the fact that you have a player that's in deep and then slightly further to the left as well means that even though you can see they check the deep angle, the problem is, as they're checking, they miss the first player. It would have needed insane reaction times to catch both and an insane transfer to get both. But they immediately win out the duel there. And then suddenly Flierax is left just by themselves, and that is no cover really available to them. There's no opportunity to back away or to pull out utility to back away. You are caught with a heavy weapon that you have to lug around that is going to weigh you down, and nowhere really to go with it, no one ready to back you up, so you end up falling there. And then suddenly, we talked about it, it was really problematic for 9 in the first map, is that you're going into, you know, the early and mid round at a huge player disadvantage, and there's nothing you can really do to claw that back. You don't have enough map control established, you don't have a lurk or something available. Everyone is just gone before you can really formulate too much of a plan.
So the question is, what's the plan for these next 3 rounds? That's what it's going to take. Onyx already been forced down onto a Deagle, which is going to make things that little bit more... I mean, I say that. We've seen some nasty pistol shots throughout the course of the day, but a little bit of early damage here does put Next Level in a bit of a precarious situation. Not to be deterred, however, they will try to advance, and they'll advance directly into Sajat's crosshairs. Okay, getting a little bit cheeky with that one. Pushes straight through. A lot of damage done, but still advantage in favor of our CTs. Now, nifee has taken a lot of space up in towards mid, but they need to garner a little bit more control in a main before he has a chance to activate. The problem is that kraghen is just around the corner here, ready and waiting. No gaps in that smoke, so can't take advantage. now with the shot onto kraghen. That should tell them that, yes, there is someone here, but it's too slow. Favin, so slow to react. He's given nifee every opening in the world. And what was an advantage has completely slipped through their fingers. Tell me this isn't how next level win this, Nani. A 1 versus 3 scenario here that HE could be absolutely everything, as two players are so incredibly low. But the attempt to retake with an AWP might not be the play. Nothing connects, nothing garnered. He's still holding the AWP. He's pushing through this smoke. Nothing that he can really work with here. He does have a flash, but will it be enough to initiate off of? Flash comes through, one shot connects, but he'll get traded, and it'll be next level, taking it to the next level, winning this matchup and going further along in our upper bracket.
Yeah, a terrible way to end that out there. You know that you're in a very unwinnable situation. You said the AWP, not exactly the weapon. There was the